Greetings, this is another presentation from NABSS TV. My name is Nia Imara, the founder of the National Association of Black Supplementary Schools, and I am with Margaret Noel, one of the founders of Descendants Supplementary School based in Ealing.
Yeah.
Ealing, yeah?
London Borough of Ealing.
Greetings, Margaret, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much, Nia, for inviting us.
So how did Descendants start and who were the personalities involved with you?
Well, Descendants started about 25 years in 1993, and it started because we were at a Catholic school and nothing much happened, and I was asked by the headmaster to do something for the African and Caribbean community. So we did. My daughter Margaret Noel, she did the performing because she was a young actress. She did the performing and she'd come home and show me what she did, and between us we organised something for the children to sing and to dance. And after the performance, a parent came up to me and said, "Oh, please don't let this stop. This was just so good to see African and Caribbean children coming together and working together to do this performance." So from those words, I then went on to find the church. I approached the church and they said, yes, we can have the church hall. But I don't think they realised that I was quite serious. And then between us, myself, Celestina, Lorraine Neckles, my daughter Chantel Noel, have I missed anybody else? Well, there was quite a few parents and people who are interested in young people. We all got together. We had a meeting at my house, and then we had the hall then, and we had the meeting, and the Descendants started in September, and it was all just word of mouth then. Then
these are before the days of social networks and email. Huh?
Well, I think the breakthrough came. We were invited to a black market at Priory, and we went there and did a performance, and it wasn't our event. But what happened was the children were taken pictures of, and it went on the front of the newspaper. Mm-hmm. So everybody began to get interested, and we started getting people asking about Descendants, and then we did an article in the newspaper. We had to have a waiting list because the hall wasn't big enough to have, to safely have all the children. So then I approached other people for the venue, and we got Priory, where we stayed for 19 years. And Descendants just grew and grew. Lots of opportunities came our way, and I'm never one for saying no to opportunities. And we were invited to perform for the Queen. We were invited to perform for Patty Boulay, Reaching Out for Africa. We made a film. I could go on and on.
Well, this is what it's about. This is about what Descendants has done.
And we've worked with so many really, really brilliant people. And we've seen some wonderful children come through Descendants who come back and do things for Descendants from time to time, tell us their story.
Yeah,
so they
got a story here, haven't you?
Yeah, they inspire the next generation.
So
yeah.
This young man here, this young man now. So what's the story about this young man? What's his name?
Oh gosh, there's so many children I can't think of the name off my hand.
You just contacted you just now about the
That's
doctor.
right, and basically what that picture is about is the Achievement Award.
This is the first one?
Yeah.
When was it? What year was this?
It's 15 years ago, and that was Tim Campbell.
There you
And
go.
Tim Campbell came to the first, and it's thanks to him that we actually got the somebody to say, yeah, this is a good idea, because we were doing it quite blind, and we were writing to all the schools in Ealing and asking them to nominate their children. And we were struggling a bit, and I wrote to him to ask him would he come to the Achievement Awards, and he just won The Apprentice. And he phoned, and I just happened to pick up that phone and spoke to him. And after speaking to him, he said, yes, I will come and use my name and for any publicity and all that. And it was funny, as soon as I used his name, I was given a grant to do it, because at that time I wasn't know what I was doing. And I had a lovely volunteer, Michael Thomas, who did the first design of the poster. And somehow or another we got the Achievement Awards together, Get Trophy. We got sponsored by Ealing Council. And it's grown, but I think it could have grown better. I don't think it's been a difficult last few years because of the moving around. We've had to move around a lot, simply because Ealing Council has taken back their priory and made it into a school. Then we've moved here, and it wasn't really ever on active. It became so expensive that we're only here in the office. And then we've moved to Bollow, and that didn't work out as well. And we're hopefully moving into new premises, and which we're exploring. One of the things we've done quite well is that we've got a sponsorship from TSB in Acton.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're their sponsored charity, and we've got a grant from them. We've just been announced. It hasn't even been officially announced yet, but we've just got a grant for them to run something called the Week of Dance, and that's something we started. I know you've got Dancing on Ice now, and you've got all these big, they've got the money behind them, we haven't. But we started the Week of Dance, and we had hundreds of children coming through the Week of Dance. We've had children going to America to do Alvin Ailey dance. You know Alvin Ailey dance?
No.
Yeah, they're a black dance company in America, and one of our young people went there for the summer camp. And we had some great people who helped us and worked with us called the Jiving Lindy Hoppers, and two of them passed away very suddenly. One of them was Dolores. She's a young girl. She was just 30. And she gave, at her funeral, she asked for the money to be given to Descendants. They made a collection. So with that money, we sponsored the young girl some money to help her with her course out in America. So we've just got this grant to do this Week of Dance again, and we'll see what it brings.
And the awards used is in the name of a famous black QC.
Yeah, the awards started off 15 years ago, and then we invite lots of different people to come in, lots of celebrities, and as I say, Tim Campbell was the first. And then we invited Dr. John Roberts. We hadn't actually heard of him then, but then once we met him and we see all the achievements he's made, and I'm thinking, well, why doesn't this man be known? Why isn't he known? I mean, he's done so many firsts. Anyway, we decided after meeting him to rename the Achievement Awards in his honour. But we also recognise that there are a lot of people, black people in Ealing, that we forget about. We forget about these people. Once they've died or once they've got old, everybody seems to forget that these people set the stones for us. They
paved the way.
Yeah, they paved the way for us. So some of the awards, we name it in their honour, like the Willis Wilkie. He set up the Saturday schools in Ealing, and he did tremendous work. And we don't want people to forget him. Connie Mark, she did sterling work with the Mary Seacole statue. That's how we found out about Mary Seacole. That's how we met Lord Soley. And Lord Soley came with us when we did that project in Scotland. So people like that. Also, the person who inspired me to do the awards is my own sister, Kim, and she died suddenly. She had mental health, and when she had a breakdown, you know, she stayed with me for a while to get herself together, and then she got well enough to go back to her flat, and she's always wanted to be a nursery nurse, and she was determined to do that. So we got her into a course, and she did it and enjoyed it, but sadly she had a heart attack and she died at age 35. And yeah, she died in Barbados, but we went to see my dad, who was ill, and she's the one who died after the second day. But what happened is I went to collect her awards, her certificate, and it was so moving, and a lot of people in there had a lot of issues, and their children, and I was thinking, this is just amazing, recognizing these people and their children, you know, having lots of these problems, like my sister had problems. And I thought, I've got to do this.
That was your inspiration?
Yeah, I've got to do this. So then I went to a meeting, and I said, one of my volunteers, we went to this meeting in Ealing in a hotel. And I said, this is the place. This is the place. So I got there, I spoke to them, I set a date. I had no idea really what I was doing.
This is for the awards.
But this is for the awards. Mm-hmm. And then, as I said, Tim Campbell, I wrote to him. I found a company online to do trophies. And between us, we put this thing together, and we didn't know how it was going to go. And 15 years later, it's still happening.
Yeah, it's very successful.
I mean, it is, you know, we started to recognize other people, like Joshua Beckford. We recognized him.
The young genius.
Yeah, we recognized him. We recognized teachers. This year was the first year, and we thought we will start with our own. Celestina, she's a teacher in a primary school in Ealing. But she's been she's one of the founders of Descendants, and she still teaches. And I always think about when my son went to school, and he was in her group, and he came home and he said, "Mom, my teacher said, James, have you swallowed an atlas?" And I said, "Why? What have you been saying?" And he said, "Well, I was telling them all about Africa." And he said, and that's what the teacher said to me, because he was obviously able, because he had been coming to Descendants since he was a baby.
So he knew all the countries and all the capital cities.
And all the flags. So he said, you know, so I said to her, "Celestina, I think you need to teach. Because I think she was working in education, but not on the teaching side." I said, because for him to remember all of that, and to go to the school, because I said to him, "Well, who taught you all of that?" And he said, "Celestina." So she was shocked. But I said to her, you know, because he always looks as if he's not listening, when he's clearly taken in everything. For him to be asked if he had swallowed an atlas. Yeah.
And you've written a book?
Yeah, we've written a book. This is our book here, Echoes from the Past. Yeah. That's the first book, and the picture on front of it is when a group of us went to a cloa, which is an African village in Bishop Stortford,
Yeah, I remember this one,
I don't think it's there anymore, which is a shame because we had a great time. We went twice. We took a red bus with 90 people, and they opened on a Sunday for us because we had been before. We were so excited. We went back. You did drumming. They showed you how to light a fire. They had a little river that you went on the river. It was just recreation of Africa.
It's a shame it's not around anymore.
Yeah, it's
really
a shame.
Need that right now.
Yeah.
So and the book, what's the book about?
Well, the book is just showing all the things we've done over the. This is one of the first picture of Descendants that was in the newspaper when we first started, and it's about all different stories. So you have stories from children, you have poems.
And these are all children that went to Descendants?
All children that went to Descendants. These are the early children, the first lot of children. This is the first party. So the pictures aren't that great, but they were we had to use them. This is our very first play, and this was our first set of volunteers. Yeah, two of them.
History, 1994.
Two of them one live in Trinidad and one live in Jamaica. They moved out there to settle.
Wow, that is history.
Yeah. So, and this is a funny one because we did was use cardboard boxes and we recycled everything. We went to Morrison's and got all the stuff.
You was ahead of your game.
It's
all about recycling now.
Always recycling. And just tell you something about the African fashion show we had when we played. This boy was Bob Marley. This is the. I'm in contact with a lot of the first children as well. Some of them have gone on to become teachers. She's a teacher.
What, this young...
This girl, she's a teacher. Shana. We've had quite a lot of children gone on to teaching, but her story is particularly important.
This young lady here?
Yeah, that's when we went to a Cloa, because she didn't get into any of her schools. You know, there was a time when children weren't getting into their schools.
It's still happening now.
Yeah, but there was a time when it was really bad, and she couldn't get into. She went to Catholic school. She couldn't get into her school, and her mum appealed, and they applied for this school, and the school wrote and said she couldn't get in. So I said, I'm not accepting that. So the two of us went up to the school to see the headmaster so that he can explain to me why she can't get into this school. And they said, oh, the headmaster is busy. So I said, that's all right, I will wait. So we went in the park to wait. And what happened was there was a young boy in there being bullied at school with a bottle and carrying on. And I ended up talking to this boy, calming him down, putting the bottle down and said to him, I will get people from education involved because he was being bullied in his school. But when we went to see the headmaster now, after all that had happened, they said, oh, it's all right. They've decided she can come to that school.
All of a sudden.
So we didn't have to, because I needed to know what I had to do for the appeal. What were the obstacles? But thankfully she got into the schools, but that's because we went up there and we were going to confront them, because she was a brilliant, well, obviously she's brilliant because she's still caught up and gone to do her teaching.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah. So.
And you yourself, you did a special event in 2012.
Running with the torch.
Not many people get a chance to do that in their lifetime.
I know. It was, you know what, it's quite a moment doing that. And I did it with my earring, one for Grenada, one for England. It was just an amazing opportunity that you don't, as you say, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't even think it's in here. No, it might not be in here.
But maybe it'll be in the next book.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it going into the next book. But yes, no, that was brilliant, because it said, oh, my daughter's group, YSB, which came out of Descendants, they all her
And
children
what
were
YSB
there.
stood for?
Youth Street Beat.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And they came out of Descendants.
Yeah, because we were doing so many different things, and she was a child actor, so I said, well, why don't you set up your own, because she was just so talented, set up your own drama and dance group. So that's been going for about 16 years now. Yeah, because a lot of the children she taught them. It's myself, Patty Boulay, and Celestina. That was at our 10th anniversary.
Patty Boulay, right? A blast from the past, literally.
Yeah. No,
Patty
we
Boulay.
performed for her, for the Sundance, and yeah. So when we did that, and it was televised, and it went to all the Caribbean and America, we were followed by CNN did an article or the filming, but never saw what happened to the filming.
Can you find any of it on YouTube?
I don't know. They came to, when we were in Acton Library, they came there, they interviewed me, they interviewed the children, and they interviewed me before I ran with the torch. And then, for some reason, they couldn't get to where I was running. They left it too late, so they couldn't get through the traffic. And that's the last I heard of it, so I have no idea where all that footage has gone.
So how come CNN were interested in was it Descendants they wanted to know about, or you in particular?
I don't know. I didn't really question it. I guess.
Shame it wasn't at the BBC or ITV, UK-based
I mean,
TV.
it was on on BBC, because if you go on YouTube, you can see the BBC where it's where I'm running, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm," because it was shown on the BBC.
Yeah, I saw you running.
Yeah. And they said they had to get extra security because you couldn't get the torch out. And of course, all the children, when they saw me, it was like whoosh. And they said a sea of yellow T-shirts. All the yellow T-shirts were the YSB children, and they all came from everywhere. It was a lovely, lovely thing. All the old, the young. I said to everybody, bring your flag wherever you're from. Bring your flag and come. It's for us. It's for the community. So it was that was an amazing thing. And yes, if it's not in here, I don't think it's in here, I'll have to put it into I'd forgotten all about that.